My next guest is going to be fighting flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko at UFC 266 on September 25th. It is lucky Lauren Murphy joining me here on the program. Lauren, how's it going?
Really good, man. Things are good here. It is a sunny day in Texas today. We were talking about that a second ago. Yeah, it's beautiful here. And I have sparring today and just, yeah, man, fight camp's been rolling. It's been really good. And just kind of, we're getting to that point in camp where it's like, okay, now, when the fight's like 8 weeks away or 7 weeks away, it feels like you have so much time. And now I'm like, okay, now we're really getting close. So this is going to be cool.
Before we dig into this, I got to say, congratulations. This has been a long time coming, you getting this opportunity. We kind of figured it was next, but you never know with the politics in the sport. So I got to know, when did you find out and what was your reaction when you knew it was official?
So like after I fought JoJo, I was like, okay, like this should be it. I hope. I mean, I don't know, just the layout of the division. It's like, I don't know who else they would match me up with. And I feel like I've done like, 500% more than anybody else that's gotten a title shot. I've certainly done more than like some of the past contenders. So they originally actually tried to set it up for Houston on that card with Derek Lewis. And it was like, it would have been like a 4-week camp or something like that. And I was like, hey man, like, we're not talking about some easy fight here. This is Valentina Shevchenko, and I want to take her seriously, and I really want a full camp for this fight. And so they said, okay, they put it in September. And I think she really wanted to fight in September, because actually originally I was really hoping for Abu Dhabi. I was like, oh, that'd be sweet to go back out to Fight Island and like do it out there. I would love that. And I think she wanted to fight in September. She's the champ, so champ gets what she wants, So
well, I was going to say it worked out. I did speak to Valentina, I think, right after your win, and she said basically because she wanted to travel that she wanted the time off. Because I did ask her about Houston, because obviously she's, I know she used to live in Texas. She fought for Legacy, so there is some ties to Texas as well. But I think it sounded like this worked out well for both of you if you wanted the extra time, and then obviously she wanted to get some traveling in, because I think she's still traveling right now. I think last time I checked she was in Oregon or something, just following along on Instagram, right? So.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see, like, I followed her for a long time on Instagram, so sometimes she pops up on my feed, but sometimes she doesn't. I've been doing better. Like, I haven't really been on social media too much. I actually have somebody that's running my social media right now. So sometimes I get bored or something, and I'll just kind of mindlessly scroll through the feeds, and every once in a while I'll interact with some fans or even some haters every once in a while. But for the most part, it's like somebody else has been posting for me. Somebody else kind of monitors like the comments and interactions and stuff. So I've been on social media less.
Yeah, it's better. It's time consuming. And plus, in this day and age, you don't want to say the wrong thing. Conor McGregor needs someone like that, by the way.
Oh my gosh. The whole idea of like tweet and delete, like, I don't really understand.
The internet lives forever. Like they'll still see it, right? It's not like it goes away. So yeah.
You could have it up for 1 second, especially him, because he's so famous. You could have it up for 1 second and somebody's going to screenshot it and it's there forever anyway. So. Yeah.
That's crazy. Before we talk about the matchup, what was the feedback like from, just because I feel like a lot of people in this industry have been rooting for you to get this title shot, fellow fighters, just other people I've spoken with. So when you did find out you got the shot, what was the feedback like? It must have been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, we've gotten, everybody's happy for us, because everybody that's involved in the sport, they want to know that hard work pays off. Nobody that's involved in the sport wants to see favorites get title shots. Nobody wants to see, people that like miss weight or lose fights get rewarded when you have other fighters that are making weight and winning fights. Like, people want to know that hard work is going to pay off. And I think I'm kind of an embodiment of that. Like, that, you can fall, pick yourself back up, keep working hard, try again, and that eventually those efforts are going to be rewarded. I think actually everybody in the world wants to see that. And so I'm proud to represent that.
Style-wise, how do you look at this fight as far as what you bring to the table against her?
Well, I think I'm the best contender she's ever faced. I think I'm the most well-rounded contender she's ever faced. I believe in my heart of hearts that I'm the toughest contender she's ever faced, just in terms of, pure grit and able to bring the fight to anybody in the world. And so that's what I'm bringing to the table. And I just have a lot of respect for her as a champion. I think that, obviously she's known for her kickboxing, but it's true. Like, I think she has probably the best clinch in all of women's MMA. And I've always said, like, I'm willing to put my clinch on the line with anybody. And so, like, I'm really excited to see how it matches up against Valentina, because I truly believe that her clinch is one of the best in the world, and her ground game is actually super underrated. So just watching her, I mean, she does have a submission win over Juliana Pena, who's known for her ground game. I watched the way she dealt with Jennifer Maia on the ground, who's a black belt. Like, Valentina has super, super, super good hips, and she knows how to move. And she did used to train in Texas. She trained in Houston, and so just in the fight community around here, I've talked to many people that have trained with her, and they all say that, like, she's a very hard worker, she's a dedicated athlete, and that her ground game is no joke. So she might be the most, well, I think she is. Not only is she really well-rounded, but she's probably the most skilled fighter I've ever, faced in my career. And so I honestly am excited about it. I think that's cool. Like, I never got into this to just fight average fighters. Like, I want to fight the best in the world, and I want to beat the best in the world. And so these are the opportunities that fighters dream about, I think.
You fought a lot of tough opponents. This is something we talked about last time in your career. Is the preparation for this fight remind you at all of any other past fights, or does Valentina remind you of any past opponents you fought before? I know you said she's definitely the most well-rounded, but is there anyone that comes to mind when I say that?
I don't know. I fought some good Thai kickboxers. Miriam Nakamoto was a really accomplished Muay Thai fighter, and that was also a 5-round fight that we had to get ready for. I've actually prepared for a bunch of 5-round fights in my career, and I don't think any of them have ever gone the full 5 rounds, but I do hold 3 professional titles, and all of those were 5-round fights, So this isn't my first time preparing for something like that, but I'd say the preparation is different because I have such a great team around me. So it's not just my coaches. I've been going on about my coaches for the last 2 years and how much I love them, but I also am really blessed to be able to work with Matteo Capodaglio, who's my nutritionist. I think he's the best in the business. And Andy Galpin is just a brilliant, he programs all my fight camps, and he's amazing. And so I feel like I'm going to be in the best shape that my body could possibly be in. I mean, we've done blood work and gotten all kinds of testing done to make sure that we can fuel me, feed me, supplement me to make me my very, very best. And so that's kind of different this camp. I think I'm really going to be in the best shape possible. And then I'm blessed to have a really good sparring partner here. His name is Paris Moran. He lives here. I've trained with him for years, and he's been kickboxing since he was 11, and he's a natural southpaw. And he fights at 125, and so I'm just really blessed to have him to work with. I've worked with him a lot, and he's actually fighting on Fight Pass September 5th. So everybody go tune in and cheer him on. Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. So aside from that, I don't know if that's something new for you, but has there been any differences in camp? Anything that you've changed leading into this fight?
You know what? Not really. Like, what we've been doing has been working. So I don't want to I don't want to make it all the way to the top and then be like, wait, change everything, because I feel like this is what got us here. So, no, I really believe in what we do here, and I think that it's made me the very best me that is possible. So, yeah, not a lot of changes from the last 5 fights that we've done. I mean, I work with all my coaches. I get in a lot of good sparring time, and we kind of sit down at the beginning of every camp and we ask ourselves, like, okay, how can we win this fight? How can we lose this fight? What is the most important thing we can do with the time that we have? And so that kind of eliminates us doing a lot of any extraneous bullshit, that we don't really need to be focused on. And it helps us all as a team narrow our focus to the things that we do need to focus on. I'm getting all these notifications, but well, it's an Amazon delivery. So
oh, that too. Yeah. I get those all the time. I have to turn them off sometimes. Yeah. It gets annoying.
But I do fly in women sometimes to come work with me because I work with a lot of men, and I think it's important to work with women. And so that's I've contacted Sarah Alpar to come work with me, and that was really, really a lot of fun. Autumn Norton's coming in next week to come work with me. I really like her. Yeah, her and I get along really well, and it's just been cool, man. I get to meet a lot of cool people that way. We get some different looks. I get to try out the things that we're working on and kind of diagnose how it's going and see where we're at with it. So it's cool. I really enjoyed working with Sarah Alpar.
Yeah, she said the same thing. I just interviewed her yesterday, and she said it was just great to get, some variety in camp. And it seemed like you guys really gelled well, too. So it seemed that's always easy when you have someone that's sort of on your same wavelength in terms of training and all that. So that's great. Do you get any sense that Valentina's underestimating you in this fight, or is it just you don't even worry about that? You're more focused on what you're bringing to the table?
Yeah, don't worry about it, because who knows what she's thinking. You can't tell from Instagram what's going on with somebody. So I like to think the champion does not underestimate anybody. and hopefully she recognizes the skills that I'm bringing to the table. So I wouldn't like put that out there like, oh, she's just underestimating me, because I don't even get the sense that she's the kind of athlete that does that.
The public, though, is a different story. And I think it's not just you, it's every single Valentina fight we hear, they've got no chance, this and that. How do you deal with that? Because, I mean, again, like you've never been finished in the UFC. You fought really good competition. You fought in different weight classes. Like, I think those are all things people forget because they just see Valentina versus opponent. How do you take that in when you hear people saying, oh, Lauren has no chance?
It doesn't affect me. People have really said that about me my whole career. Like, I fought for a championship way back in Alaska, and that's like my home state, and I fought for the championship, and people were saying it about me even in Alaska. They're like, she doesn't have a chance, and that was one of the best wins, of my life, and it was one of the bloodiest TKOs I've ever been a part of, and it makes it that much, it makes the win that much sweeter in the end. But somebody asked me the other day, like we were at the gym, and somebody I hadn't seen in a while was asking me about it, and they were like, so is it time to shut a bunch of people up? And I was like, people are going to talk no matter what I do. So I don't even think about it like that, because if I start thinking about I'm going to control what other people say about me, or I'm going to control what other people think about me, then it takes me off course. And what my goal is to see how far I can go in this sport, and to see how much I can handle and how far I can push myself, and just really keep it focused on pushing myself to be the best. And you can do that publicly or privately. Sometimes I push myself in practice and nobody's ever going to see it or know about it, only me, so what other people think, it just has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, and that stuff will eat you alive. You can't pay attention to people who especially people who aren't involved in those sports. So it's just, we get sucked in with social media, which is good. You have someone monitoring it, right? So it's all good there. Where do you feel like a lot of women have failed with Valentina in the past? Like, there's some school of thought that sometimes the fighters, some of her opponents have lost even before they got in there because she's that intimidating. Where do you think a lot of fighters have gone wrong against Valentina?
Yeah, I think that that's true. I think that some people end up like fighting her reputation instead of just fighting the person in front of them. And that could be really detrimental. I've definitely fallen prey to that before. Like when I fought Sarah McMahon, I was like, oh my God, I'm fighting Sarah McMahon. And instead of just focusing on the moment and kind of owning the moment, I got really caught up in the name of who I was fighting, And so I'm glad I've made those mistakes before now, so that hopefully I don't repeat them. But yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. There's a good intimidation factor. Watching Derek Lewis fight here in Houston, it was kind of eye-opening to the amount of pressure that it can put on somebody. And so me and my team have talked a lot about that, about kind of not getting sucked into that idea about being under a lot of pressure. Being like seeing the walkout, for Derek here in Houston, my adrenaline went through the roof when Derek walked out. It was such a cool walkout to see. And I asked the team later, cause Joe cornered him and my friend Alyssa cornered him and stuff, and Bob, and I'm like, man, when you guys were walking out, did your adrenaline just, I'm sorry, she always does this whenever I have an interview.
Oh, no worries. It's all good. She's exciting. Yeah.
I cannot stand not being the center of attention. But I think being able to handle stuff like that too, and making, realizing okay, you could have a big adrenaline dump just from the walkout. So doing a lot of visualization around that and being prepared for things like that is important.
Your corner, imagine your husband, and who else will be in the cage with you that night?
Bob Perez will be there, Joe Murphy, obviously, and then Alex Cisne. That's a name not a lot of people know, but he's cornered me many, many times. I'm actually 9-0 fighting with Alex. So, so he'll be there. And then the fourth corner, I think, is going to be Paris, so that he can be in the back and help warm me up and stuff like that. And that's the guy that I've been working with for sparring. How's
this fight playing out on September 25th?
Man, I would love to make a prediction, but I don't know. I just know I'm going to get my hand raised at the end of it, and it's going to be and new.
What would it mean? I know you visualize this. A lot of you fighters do visualization. They put the belt around your waist. You've won the fight, and just being able to bring that belt back to Alaska, what would that mean to you, just with everything you've been through in your career?
Yeah, it would be cool. It'd be cool to bring the belt back and stuff. To tell you the truth, James, for me, it's not even about the belt. It's just about getting in there and being the best I could be. The belt is really cool, but at the end of the day, it's like a piece of clothing. It's like an accessory, But for me, the point is to just go be the best I can be. And there's so many little challenges on the way up to the fight, and then the fight itself is a challenge. And I just want to be able to overcome those challenges to prove to myself that I could do it. And so like they could have like a gold medal at the end or a plaque or like a pair of nice shoes or whatever, and it would kind of mean the same thing as getting a belt. Does that make sense?
Totally get it. Yeah. It's more about the exactly getting there, the journey, challenging yourself. The belt is just an accessory, like you said. At the end of the day, they don't even really think about the belt. They think more about the fights and the opponent, right? So that's sort of what it's more about, right? So
yeah, I think so. Yeah, for me it is. So the belt's cool. It would be cool. Like I would like to be able to put it over my shoulder and show it to everybody and, you know, put it up at my house and stuff. But that's all like if there was like a top 10 list of things that I really give a shit about, it's pretty far down the list, actually.
Yeah, no, I like the honesty. I appreciate it. Speaking of being honest, I'm going a little off topic here, but I heard you on one of my favorite podcasts, Ashley Evans Smith's Sex and Violence podcast. I just wanted to know, what was it like going on a show like that and opening up a lot? Because Ashley doesn't just talk about fighting. There's all types of different stuff. How was it getting to go there? Because she does a phenomenal job. I think she's like the Howard Stern of like our industry at this point.
So yeah, I don't usually put stuff like that out publicly. It was really fun because one, she made it super easy. Like she's super comfortable to talk to. I felt like I was talking to one of my best friends. And I forget that people are going to listen to that kind of stuff, which is nice because then you can just be honest and be yourself. And it was fun. It was kind of like, you know, I don't drink, but it reminded me of like you sit around and drink wine with your girlfriends, and that's the kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like kind of like locker room talk, but Ashley does it in such a way that it's so like, even with the guys she's had on, she's very good about getting people to open up and not being like, you know, controversial or anything. It's just a skill you have to develop, and she does a really awesome job. It's been cool to watch her sort of transition. I know she's still fighting, but going into that realm as well, because she's done a really good job with it, and a variety of guests too, which is great.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was like I always like to talk about mine and my husband's relationship because I think it is very special, and I really love what we have together. So just kind of having an excuse to brag about my husband was cool. But yeah, she really does a great job. And I felt surprisingly comfortable talking about like sex and violence with her. It was awesome.
What did Joe, did Joe listen to the episode? What did he think?
Yeah, he loved it. He was
yeah, that's good. Okay. So yeah, he played along with it. That's awesome. Lauren, we're so much looking forward to this fight. UFC 266, September 25th. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you got to plug? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, thank you. So my social media, Lauren Murphy MMA, Twitter and Instagram. We've been doing a pretty good job of posting some good content lately, so come check us out. And actually, I just was fucking around with a hater on my Instagram this morning, so if you guys want to come see that, come check it out. Yeah, and I just really want to say thanks to my team, everybody at Gracie Baja Katie and Main Street Muay Thai and Dynamic Sports Training here in Houston. I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be, and I feel really grateful to be here. So thanks for having me on, James.